So who's got a question? Emma.
What was your relationship like with Braulio? Like, were you guys close or were you just kind of,
My brother was much older than I. He was 7 years older. So we didn't have a very good relationship.
Are you talking about your brother? I don't think you were asking about your brother.
Yes.
You asked about Rowdy, right? Or did
No,
you ask
that-
about her brother?
My brother.
Who did you ask about?
Braulio?
Braulio. Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, I met him when I was grown up already in Ecuador, and we were together. He was the father of my kids. We had a pretty good relationship for a long time. And then we separated. That's life.
Mr. Mullins.
What did you think of the play? I was to see a play about your life.
¿Qué le pareció la obra y qué le pareció ver su vida a través de la obra?
Well, I think it was something very emotional, and I was very excited about it. That's why I did everything I could to come here, and I loved it. I think my grandson's work was great.
Any other questions? Wow.
Emma.
How long were you in America? Like, did you ever go back? And like, or what? No, wait, I'm confused. Wait, so when did you? I know you did go back to America, and then like.
She was never in America. She never lived in America. She lived in South America. And
I
Ecuador.
live in Ecuador, in South America.
Oh, well, when did you come to America then?
Thursday.
Oh, okay.
I just.
She still lives in Ecuador.
And I'm leaving Friday.
Oh.
Yeah, she's just here visiting to see the play.
You're cooking.
That's why I say I did everything I could to come up here. No, I live in Ecuador, in South America. There I live since we left Germany. And his mother, my daughter, married in Ecuador a Peace Corps guy. And they moved up here, so every once
That's
in a
my
while
bad.
I come to visit.
Any other questions?
Yep.
Yeah, right here.
Did you know any other people who escaped Germany at that time along with you and your family?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of them living in Ecuador. Most of them already died because most of them were older than I was when they left Germany.
How long did it take you to, how long did it take you to learn?
¿Cuánto tiempo les
Tell the story about learning to speak English.
Oh, I just played with some kids that were Americans where I lived, and that's how I learned it. That's how I learned Spanish too, just play. It's the easiest way to learn a language.
Okay, yes.
While you were escaping, what kind of thoughts were crossing your mind?
Say that a little bit louder, a little bit clearer.
While you were escaping, what kind of thoughts were crossing your mind?
Cuando estuve donde-
Mientras estaba escapando de Alemania, ¿qué fue lo que estaba por la cabeza?
You know, I didn't really think much about it. I was 7 years old. We traveled by train from Germany to Italy, where we got the boat. And all I remember is that it smelled terrible. It was, everything was very dirty. And, well, I didn't think much about it. At the beginning in Ecuador was not easy. I didn't know the language, I didn't know the customs, and people told me a lot of horror stories. So it was very bad, very difficult for me to go home, because at all places I thought that all those ghosts they talked about were behind me.
It definitely varies in my mind, but on average, how long do you think it took you to become comfortable in Ecuador?
Oh, it didn't take me very long, really. My best time was when I went to school to a nun school. There it was very nice. I had a lot of friends, the nuns were very nice. That was my nicest time. But then after that, I love Ecuador, and it is really the country where I think is mine. Germany doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Thank you.
Yes.
When you and your family got out of Germany, where exactly did you stay again?
What? Tell about the travel, where you went to from Germany to where to where.
Oh. From Germany, as I say, we took a ship in Italy, and the journey took about a month, and then we arrived in Guayaquil. That is the main port from South America. And from there, we traveled up to Quito, to the mountains by train. And that was something that they showed in the play, but they couldn't show it very well how it really was, you know. The train comes to a part that is called the Devil's Nose, where it goes forward and back, and there are, ¿cómo se dice? Precipicios.
It's on the edge of a mountain. There's just
Yeah.
cliffs straight down.
Cliffs. You look down. My mother was really scared. It was the most terrible thing that ever happened to her. She never saw a train, you know, saw something like that. We don't have cliffs like that in Germany. In Ecuador, we have cliffs that are 20, 30, 100 meters high, and cars and trains, they just go by, and you look out the window and see.
The
Straight down for 300 feet.
And the
sometimes.
streets are very narrow.
The streets are very narrow, and they are on the, ¿cómo se dice? Filo.
On the edge.
Yes, they're on the edge. So they are you have a lot of turns and ups and downs, and you get to see, like, you have mountain on this side and
And volcanoes.
cliffs down on the other side.
And you can look up the Devil's Nose train ride. You can look it up. It's still, that train still runs.
Yeah.
And what it is it's like switchback tracks where you go up a little bit and then they have to switch the track from the one going up to the next one going up. So the train goes this way one time, they switch the track, and then it goes that way. So sometimes you're going forward, sometimes you're going backwards. And over on these switchbacks for hours.
It's a little bit like the boats in the Panama Canal. But let me tell you, Ecuador is a very, very beautiful country. So if ever you want to go on a trip, choose Ecuador.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ecuador, what is your favorite thing about Ecuador now?
What do you mean? What I like best in Ecuador?
¿Qué es su cosa favorita ahora?
Eh,
Ahora. You mean
The
now,
mountains.
right? You mean now?
Yes.
Or in, yeah, sí, ahora. ¿Qué es lo que más le gusta?
Well, everything. I love Ecuador. It's, ¿cómo se dice patria?
¿Qué quiere decir?
Mi patria.
Um,
My mother country, you know.
Oh,
I don't think
My homeland.
my
Yeah.
homeland, you know. I am German, but I feel like an Ecuadorian. And I
yes,
prefer,
it is home for her.
It is home for me. Yeah. I would never, you know, his mother tells me, oh, when you get older and you can't, you need somebody to take care of you, you come here. No, thank you. I stay in Ecuador, however it might be. I love that country. They opened their doors for us when we really needed, and I will never forget it.
And at the time, the U.S. was not opening their doors to Jews. Yeah.
Would you ever go back to visit Germany?
Would you?
Tell them about going back and
Yeah,
visiting.
she-
She did recently.
I have been back in Germany. Not really because I wanted to, but my other son invited me and said, no, we're going back and blah, 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 you have to look at it. And my grandmother had a house there, a weekend house. So we went back there and
Like a summer vacation house there that's still standing
and
in
we
Germany.
really found it and saw, and it was nice and so, but I would never go back to live there.
Did it take you a long time to sort of adapt to the lifestyle and everything?
I'm sorry, can you
Did it
speak
take
louder?
Did it take you a long time to adapt to the life in Ecuador?
Que si le tomó mucho tiempo adaptarse a la vida.
No,
pero-
it didn't take me long. As soon as I could speak the language, there was no problem anymore.
Here, questions to the side?
How long did it take you to learn English?
¿Cuánto tiempo le llevó a aprender el inglés?
English? I really don't know. I just played with kids, and I have always been very bad at math, but very good at languages. Yeah, languages have been no problem for me, but in math, I would fail first grade.
Other questions? Yes.
How did you feel when you saw the changes in Germany from when it used to look, how it used to look and how it looks now?
¿Cómo se siente con respecto a los cambios que Alemania ha pasado de lo que era antes a lo que es ahora?
Mention,
you know-
mention that it's not Germany.
Ah, y que menciona que no es alemán, que donde usted estuvo, ¿no?
Que ya no es
es
alemán.
Alemania, o algo así.
Oh, well, where the house is, our weekend house that belonged to my grandmother, that is not German anymore. That is Polish now. But, you know, when we were in Germany, that time that my son took me, we went to visited one of the concentration camps in Germany, Dachau. And when we left the concentration camp, my son asked me, "What do you think about this?" And I told him, I admire the Germans, how they came out of the war, how they are now, cómo salieron adelante.
Came out ahead.
Yeah.
How they came out ahead, but I cannot respect them. People that did things like that.
People are starting to forget the Holocaust. And so, I guess, what are your thoughts, or what would you say to people to remind people that this big thing happened?
Ahora como que la gente ya se está olvidando del holocausto.
Yeah,
¿Qué les diría?
I know. In the German school in Ecuador, they make kids read certain stories about it, and I think that's just so they don't forget what happened. And I think too, that is something that people should never forget, because it should never happen again. It was the most cruel war. I know wars have been all the time and are going on now, but nothing can be compared with what happened there. That's why I am so grateful to Ecuador, because I realize all that happened, and I think, my goodness, if we didn't get out, I don't want to think about it.
And I should mention, for the many of you who didn't see the play, if you've heard of Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, the next day, I don't know how many people know sort of the story, but the next morning, Jewish men, for the most part, especially Jewish business owners, were arrested en masse for the crime of being Jewish. And her father was one of those people. He was arrested. He would have been on a train to a camp. And her mom got them out through contacts, through people she knew that could help them get out.
Because we lived in a small city, and my grandfather was very well known. So the guy told my mother and said, "If you bring a visa to get out, we'll let your husband free." So she went to get a visa, and the last visa that was available was to Ecuador. And that's what shows the play, that my father says, "What is Ecuador?" The only thing we know about Ecuador is the volcano Cotopaxi.
And I don't know if this is true, but this is my suspicion. If you take a trip to the DIA, there is a painting hanging in the DIA. It is called Cotopaxi. And it is this just unbelievable, almost scary painting of this giant volcano smoking and just looks like it's ready to erupt. And it was painted in the 1840s, I think. And it was painted for a book. It was specifically painted so that images could be put in a book. of that thing, and for a European book. So I suspect that picture is the thing that anybody in Europe knew about Ecuador and Cotopaxi was that one painting. I don't know if that's the truth, but
Probably.
yeah.
But the volcano was just smoking just a few months ago. It didn't erupt, but it was.
They still live in a place where volcanoes erupt.
Tungurahua.
Every once in a while, a volcano just erupts. They're surrounded by them.
Or just wakes up.
But the most dangerous one is Cotopaxi because it's so huge. If it erupts,
They say it will wipe out
it
Quito.
will wipe
Yeah.
out a few
Cities.
cities.
Other questions? Yes.
Would you ever consider traveling around America a little bit more for sightseeing?
She has.
Sorry.
Yeah, she,
Her daughter lives here in Michigan.
yeah,
And she's traveled
I've
Many,
traveled
many
quite a
times.
lot. Yeah, I have been at Yellowstone, and where we climbed up the mountain.
yeah,
Yosemite.
yeah, Yosemite
Yosemite.
National Park, and lots of, she would come just about every summer that I was growing up. She would come here to Michigan and she would bring many of my cousins, including this one right here, and we would take everybody and load us all into a van. I think probably 12 of us sometimes, all in one van, and go up north into the upper part of the lower peninsula and the upper peninsula a little bit, and we'd go to Florida, and we went all over the United States. She's seen a lot of the United States. Other questions? Yeah.
Because of the war, what part of yourself do you think changed the most?
Por la guerra, ¿qué es lo que usted cambió más en usted? O sea, por la guerra, ¿lo que influenció más en usted?
I don't know. I think sometimes that my life in Ecuador has been probably much happier than it would have been.
De su vida y revivir eso, ¿qué sería?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I know something she's told me is that she always loved to ski as a little kid.
And it was a very sad moment for me when I had to leave my skis in Germany. Other than that, well, you know, the only good thing that I have from Germany is the language. And I love teaching. So I teach German, the kids of the German school that need help. And I love to do that.
Schools in Ecuador, there are public schools, but they are...
That's not the German school is not a public
Right,
school.
the public schools there are it's
bad.
a very bad system. So they have private schools, and private schools are generally
Very expensive.
pieced up by a country. You go to the German school or you go to the American school, as long as you can afford it because it's private school. But you go to the school of some certain country.
Or a school that in some way imposes foreign language.
We have a few types of American schools. He went to one that's called Minor. That is, and my other grandkids were in the American school.
Question here.
How long have you been teaching?
Over 30 years.
Thank you.
Did anything inspire your love for teaching?
Inspire what?
¿Qué le inspiró a usted para que dé clases?
My
To be a
kids.
teacher?
You know, I started working with them, and they were in the German school. And then some kids came and asked me to help them when they didn't understand something, and so I started. And let me tell you, I was one of the best.
She was. She's still, sometimes she'll call, her and my mom talk a lot on the phone, or over like a video call. And my mom will still tell me stories. She was yelling about this student today and how awful they were. And anything else you guys want to know?
About the period of the war during that time.
Right here. Say
I'm
it again.
sorry, yeah.
No.
Do you ever have nightmares?
Que si todavía tiene pesadillas.
I never did have nightmares because I didn't feel very much of the war, really. We left Germany in 1939, a few months before the war started. So the only thing that I really felt was that crystal night when they broke all the Jewish windows of the stores. But otherwise, I didn't really have any contact with them. Afterwards, here, you know, the news, and so my father really nervous, oh, Germany is going to win, and that, but nothing so bad to have nightmares.
Did you have a lot of like friends in Germany that you had to leave behind, and if so, how did that make you feel?
No, not too many. I was just 7 years old, and Jewish kids were not allowed to attend schools anymore. So,
Okay, thank you.
Right here. Yep, nice and loud.
When and where did you get your education?
When and where did you get your education?
in Ecuador, and primary school at the nun school where I said that I felt so good, and then in a public high school that was not nice.
Yes. Hold on. You had a question, sorry. I'm sorry, you need to speak louder.
How much news about the war were you hearing when you were growing up in Ecuador?
Well, ¿cómo llegaron las noticias?
¿Cuánta cantidad de noticias escuchaba de la
Well,
guerra cuando
I
llegó?
don't know, you know. I was 8, 9 years old, but there came a lot of news. There came a lot of news, and it was always, you know, that nervousness that if Germany wins, Germany will come over in America too. But I don't know. I had always something little small inside that said Germany is not going to win. And one of the reasons was, I don't know, but that's when I started to think, oh no, Germany is going to lose the war. There was Joey Louis, the boxer, you said?
Yeah, Joe Louis, boxer.
He was a boxer, and he had to box against a German guy, Max Schmeling. And Hitler naturally, oh, that black guy, and the race, the super race, the German super race, he will knock him down and blah, blah, blah. So Joey Louis was really mad and prepared very good. And he knocked him down in the first ring. And when I heard about that, I said, Germany is going to lose the war. And that's what.
It's really, it's kind of interesting because you guys always hear about the track runner, right? At the Olympics. I forget the name right now. What's the name? Jesse Owens, yeah. But do you guys ever talk about Joe Louis and Max Schmeling? Because apparently it was at least as big a news. And of course, everybody here knows the name Joe Louis. You can't live this close to Detroit without knowing the name Joe Louis.
Yes, you had a question.
What are some of your happiest memories from your life?
In
Happiest
Ecuador
memories from
or
your
in Germany?
In general, what are some of your happiest memories?
¿Me or her?
Her.
¿Cuáles son sus recuerdos más felices?
De toda su vida.
No sé.
Well, one of what I remember most was happy in Germany, in that a weekend house where I came together with my cousin, where the summers were really nice. That's why we went back, because we wanted to see, my son wanted to see the place and so. But it's not German anymore, it's Polish. And the problem is, you go there, nobody speaks English nor German. They only speak Russian and Polish. And Spanish, you don't even think about it. But that was one of my happiest times in Germany, when we went during the summer up to that place.
Any other questions for her? Teachers, any questions?
I think we're done.
I think so.
I have one question.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the refugee problems today compared to what you lived through?
¿Qué piensa de los problemas de los refugiados ahora comparado con los refugiados de the World War?
I think it's terrible. I think it's really horrible. But I think too, I don't know if it would be able to be made, but I think the countries in the world should get together and try to solve the problems in those countries, so that people would not have to leave the country. I don't know, as I say, if it would be in any way possible, but that would be really the only way to solve the problem.
It's almost like we're not really learning how to deal with the problem. It just keeps happening.
It's what I think, well, the others are really far away, but we live next to Venezuela. I can't understand how they can't get rid of that guy. People are dying because they don't have any food, they don't have any medicine, they don't even have toilet paper. And I don't understand how they can't get rid of that guy. Because we in Ecuador, you know, when we don't like a president, we throw him out. It has happened quite a few times. And they can't get rid of the guy.